in the mix, in the mix, in the mix. Let me tell you how it's going down. In the mix, in the mix, in the mix. Let me tell you how it's going down. In the mix, in the mix,
it's a QOC thing.
Mix. Let me tell you how it's going down. In the mix, in the mix, in the mix. Let me tell you how it's going down.
We about to put you up on game. QOC, you gotta know the name. Keep it real, you know ain't nothing changed. Set the standard, staying in our lane. Yep, that's what you thought. Paying the cost, taking no loss, keeping you up on what's happening. And now that I got your attention, let me mention this.
In the mix, in the mix, in the mix. Let me tell you how it's going down. In the mix, in the mix, in the mix. Let me tell you how it's going down. In the mix, in the mix, in the mix. Let me tell you how it's going down. In the mix, in the mix, in the mix. Let me tell you how it's going down.
What is going on, everybody? This is your girl, J. Marie. We are back for another go round of In the Mix with myself, Prime of CSUM, and Original Soul. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, brothers.
Peace, peace. It's your man, Old Soul, M4G Entertainment, M4G Radio, QOC Network. Let's go.
Prime,
Man, it's your boy Prime by Design. Oh. It's your boy Prime by Design, always in the chocolate state of mind. And hey, man, we're here in the mix, powered by QOC. Man, let's make it happen.
Yes, yes, yes. We're powered by QOC Network. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe, by the way, at QOC Network. And we about to get into some things. Yes. Rest in peace to the late, great George Foreman.
Yes, yes.
The big guy.
Yeah, the big guy. Big George.
Grills, them 1-2s. Okay, I don't got that fist like he got at all. Not even the wrist.
Two-time world champion. You know what I'm saying? Big George. I just hate that we didn't get to see the clash of Titans with Mike Tyson and George. You know what I'm saying, when he came back. But hey, man, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
The way Mike Tyson fought the last fight. Yeah, I think George Foreman would have got that one. Because he wasn't gonna just stand there.
But see, I was talking about, when George came back, when he came back when he was, I think he was 40 or something like that, when he came back 50 or something. And when he fought Vander Holyfield, I wanted to see George and Tyson too back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
George was still tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he and to leave and come back to boxing.
Yeah.
That's a legend. So
not to mention all the other stuff he done with the George Foreman grill, which was that was a smash. George, and he played in films too. He
did, but let me tell you, I'll say this: how I've learned about him, I'll say, because I'm not a boxing fan or anything like that. So I actually learned about him through the George Foreman grill. I started being like, "Who is this dude?" And I see him on these commercials, right? Then I started to get the history of who this guy was, and what struck me as odd is he named all his boys George Foreman. The 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't remember how many kids he had, but that struck me as interesting, and it made me dig into his life more. And that's how I ended up learning about who he was. And he was a pretty dope individual.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was
pretty
king.
dope.
came out of Houston, Texas. Shout out to Houston. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, man. Rest in peace, Big George. I didn't even know he was sick, man. I didn't know. I really didn't.
Well, but I mean, shoot, all them blows to the body. Yeah. I think, does it shorten us? I don't know. I don't want to be a boxer, so I don't really have that intention to figure it out either.
Yeah, and he was pretty private about his life, so
he was.
Yeah, and hey, you got the right to do that, but hey, it was a shocker for me. But
they said he died around his family and he died peacefully, so I think that was. I want to say it felt like it was one of those natural causes, but I don't know.
I'm sure it was. He was up in age. He was up in age 70. What, 76? What was it?
76, 77, I want to say.
Yeah, so
he's around that time. Yeah, I don't want to say around that time. No, because I know people who've lived past that age. But as an athlete, a professional boxer, he's lived through a lot of blows through life, literally, figuratively, and physically. So like you absolutely,
say, he got his 3 scores, man. That's what we promised. He got his 3 scores. So yeah.
So let's rest in peace to George Foreman, and we want to also say, it's a segue to some heavy. So 5 years ago, we know we lost a Dallas rapper on the scene, Mo3.
Yeah.
Okay. 5 years back, this is what, research wise and understanding the news of it all. 5 years back, we lost Mo3. So rest in peace to Mo3. We got to clear the air about some things. So I don't want to say clear the air because I can't say it's clear or not. It's not clear to me. But in terms of news stories, we got Yella Beezy in the news. Yella Beezy is a rapper out of Dallas as well. So apparently there's beef going on, and I definitely want the guys to chime in on this. I'm not from Texas, so I don't know the whole, ins and outs and things like that of it. But unfortunately, he was arrested with ties to Mo3's murder. I'm gonna say that. I don't want to say he's to cause it or whatever the case is, but I'm hearing a lot of hearsay. So let's dig into that conversation, and let's also give Mo3 a moment. Let's cue up his music and pay some homage to him real quick.
Indeed.
Stand on the block, I said they only gon' love you when you lit, yeah. I said they only gon' love you if you rich, yeah. She said she love me, I said you love it, yeah. She said she love me, but she love me cause I'm lit. She said she love me, but she love me cause I'm lit, yeah. I fuck a buddy, I don't get nothing but some, yeah. She said she love me cause I damn my pet, yeah. I said you only really love me cause I'm lit. 3. She love me cause I'm lit, yeah. I'm super LIT, the Glock came with a stick, yeah. Rockin' red bottom, I jump out, I'm chain my feet. Then get skied and all black, pull up with straps and that's when get slept. Riders kept, I don't that bitch about 1,000 times.
He's got some very interesting music, I will say. I've learned about his other side to his music. And I became a fan of his music that way. Not necessarily the gangster side of the music, but I learned about him nonetheless. I like his sound, I like his artistry, and I like Yella Beezy too. So it's hella unfortunate to hear these two guys tied up in the same story in this capacity. So what are y'all thoughts on that? Prime, you want to hit us off both of y'all are artists, or one Prime being a former artist, but Brandon also being a current artist. You can kind of give your take on this too, but we'll start off with Original Soul first, then we'll go to Prime this time. We'll flip it around. So,
well,
what's your take?
For me, with the whole Mo3 Yella Beezy thing, I think in terms of what's going on in the Dallas music scene itself, it seems to me like there's a lot of competition within each other. And when I say that, for me, I like to just entertain, right? The whole point of us being artists is that we want to be entertaining. When we turn everything into a competition of, okay, I'm best. Oh no, I'm the best. It creates a divide between the people. And now it's like the people are having to choose sides on, okay, who do I want to go with as far as if something happens with someone else, okay, am I going to choose their side over someone else's? Just like with the whole Biggie and Pac thing. It was, okay, well, Biggie did this, so I'm going to side with Pac. No, Pac did this, so I'm going to side with Biggie. It's the same thing that's just in a different city. And so here we are with the Mo 3 Yella Beezy thing. Everyone's gonna say, "Oh well, yeah, Yella Beezy had this to do with it, so we're gonna side with Mo 3." It's like all of this stuff is taking away from the actual entertainment part of it. It's like if they're going to be artists, you're going to like a different. I said this on my Facebook page a couple of days ago. You're going to like a different artist for different reasons,
Right.
different times. They're going to have different music. They're going to have different styles. It's going to be something that, okay, if I'm doing something in my yard one day, you're going to want to listen to certain things. So it's the same thing with these two. It's like you're going to listen to them for different reasons. They both have different styles. So you're going to listen to them for different reasons. So the whole thing between the two it's an unnecessary divide to me.
Well, one of the I'm gonna interject real quick, and then Prime, I want to get your take on it too, because I know you have a lot of insight into this. But one of the things was I don't, as much as I want to think that it's like tied to, oh, you gotta like Yella Beezy music or you gotta like Mo 3 music and you can't like both. As a listener of music or a lover of music, I don't think that was the issue. From what I understood, let me say, and hearsay as well, which is why I want to kind of get a little bit more insight into this. But the understanding I have of it is that there was a lot of personal beef that was outside of music that spilled into business transactions and different things like that, or something another that caused them to take it further. Now, or whoever to take whatever further, but it was a personal issue that did not get resolved personally, privately, or whatever, and it spilled over into messing with people's money, messing with people's, impact or their artistry or their fan base or whatever it was, their pockets in some kind of way. And that's what I took it to take, or I understood of the situation and my hot take on it in that way. But
But here's the thing though. Even if it was personal beef or if there's personal business or something that's going on, part of it is starting to translate into the music. Because listen to the type of music that they do.
yes,
If
they
you're
were
putting a
telling on
lot of that,
themselves.
if you're putting a lot of that personal business in your music, the fans are listening to this stuff. And so they're thinking, okay, yeah, a lot of this has to do with, who's better or what, so a lot of it, when you put it in your music, then you're leaving the listener without much of a choice on what side to choose.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Prime, what do you think about this in relation to that? Because we're looking at it on the artistry side, myself and also, but is there more? Is it deeper beef than that?
It's a little bit of both what you guys are saying, but I throw events. I was throwing events, and I was correlating a whole lot of the local rappers and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so I could kind of see what they was how they was interacting and what was happening, and like I said, being a former artist from back in the early '90s all the way up to the 2000s, mid 2000s, I was doing it. I was around it. We never had any real order in Dallas when it came to the music scene. Say it was more of a consumer market. So those of us that was trying to become artists and stuff like that, I'm speaking in reference to the history of this. It was like Oso say, it was a lot of competition to try to get to the top because there was nobody really coming out of Dallas like that. So everybody was trying to be the number one guy or the number one group to come out. So it made people stand in their own corners and kind of almost, it wasn't really beef at that time. It was more so like, I just mess with who I mess with. I just mess with my own people. and you mess with your own people, but that's not really conducive to a successful music industry in Dallas. So fast forward, and so that started with us, and then now you got the youngsters coming behind us with no order that we already didn't have. Now they stepping in and they coming in, and because by that time a lot of us had already kind of started moving out the way and stuff like that. They start coming in with this. It was the dance music first, so that and then the DJs wasn't playing the other music, so they was only playing the club stuff. So it kind of made us like, man, start backing out and we start doing different things. So it just we kind of vacated, and then the youngsters came in and stood and tried to take the reins, but they didn't understand what was happening before, so that they wouldn't bring it into the new. So they stepped in as youngsters, took up some stuff that they didn't understand, and then they brought it into the new, and which birthed the beefing on down the line. So now you got these cats, because a lot like Yella Beezy, people like him, his daddy and them was a part of the entertainment scene back in the day when we was coming up. So and they was putting on a lot of Dallas acts. But to speak on the Yella Beezy and Mo 3 situation, them guys were friends at first. Yella Beezy, Trap Boy, and Mo 3, they was all friends at one point. They broke up, split up, and it was a matter of competition, because actually a lot of people don't know that Mo 3 was actually the first one to really get ready to come out on the mainstream level, but he went to jail. So Yella Beezy got the deal, and and he catapulted out. And so in a sense, when Mo 3 got out and he came back, he was already on a whole nother level at that time mentally. It was like, hey, it's me against the world type of situation, and I don't really mess with them cats. And they kind of like shied away from him because he was in that, because he was like that. Yella Beezy and Trap, they wasn't Yella for sure. He wasn't like really a street guy like that. So
now we got a video on Yella Beezy, his arrest video, and I want to cue that up here in a second, but you said something. You said he's not a street guy.
He wasn't a street guy. No,
wasn't. Okay. Yeah. So, do you think that being in the rap game, when you're trying to maintain a certain persona, it causes you to kind of put on this image that now you can't take off, because now it's the authenticity of who you are as a street guy? Before
you got to, and then you got to understand.
It's a good picture of them.
Then you got to understand, it ain't the grown folks that's really getting manipulated by this music and kind of pushing these guys to be like, it's the kids, it's the youngsters, it's teenagers. So they the big homies to the teenagers. So they had to stay. It was almost like the teenagers was boosting them up because they was following them. You know what I'm saying? So,
okay, clarify who you mean. You talking about Yella Beezy, Trap Boy Freddy, and Mo 3.
Yeah,
the teenagers are following them.
Yeah, and they were the big.
So they are the unks, they're the big homies.
Yeah,
and we got unks. Is that the categorization of us now?
Well, no, we unks. We unks.
I'm auntie.
Yeah. We unks.
So then the ones younger than us is big homies.
Yeah, look, Yella Beezy and them, the big homies. They the big homies and the OG. They quote unquote OGs to the young cats. So So those cats looked up to them, so they made them feel like they had to keep this persona going. You know what I'm saying? That same thing with like Tupac and them, like he said. Same thing with Tupac. Tupac was the leader.
Tupac was nothing like his persona, according to what I've researched. So
we caught on to the trend of the thug life at that time, and it became an entity. So you can't just let that go. You got to use it. I really think that once you become a persona after so long, people know you for that, and they don't know you any other kind of way. So it's hard to shake that. So let's go ahead and cue up that arrest video of Yella Beezy and get into that.
News stories tonight, starting with an update on a rapper gunned down on a highway 5 years ago. Dallas police now say Yella Beezy hired a hitman to kill his one-time friend turned rival, Mo 3.
All I see is yellow, taping Beretta. I thought I ain't lacking, don't think that I'm mean. I hit up that rapper, you made him famous. Yeah, he barely made it, but we're not again. In the city, they talking, they know what I do.
Louisville police say at 3:38 this morning, they got a 911 call from a driver saying he'd been shot multiple times by someone in another vehicle in the northbound lanes of the Sam Rayburn Tollway at FM 544. Police say 26-year-old DeAndre Conway was shot 3 times and was still conscious and breathing when he was transported to a nearby hospital. Conway told investigators he was out with friends and had dropped them off in Louisville and was on his way home when he was fired on. Police say more than a dozen rounds were fired into Conway's vehicle. Investigators are hoping businesses and or tollway cameras will lead them to the suspect.
Everybody knows where the stand spot is. That's why when Mo 3 got out the car, the dude went around to the passenger side to try to get the gun out where they normally stash there. Normally if the police pull them over, they don't find this gun in the stash spot. They had a good stash spot. The took the gun out.
A Dallas rapper was murdered outside of his car on I-35 near the Dallas Zoo. Hello, I'm Steve Eager.
I'm Heather Hayes. It is a stark example of the city's struggle to control violent crime. Police say the victim, a hip-hop musician named Mo 3, was approached by the killer on I-35. Both men stopped their vehicles. The victim got out, took off, started running, but was shot several times on the highway. A bystander inside another vehicle was also hit. Police say that person did not suffer life-threatening injuries.
This rapper is dead today after he was shot on I-35. 28-year-old Melvin Noble, also known as MO3, was shot on I-35 northbound near the Beckley-Zane curve. DPD says Noble was approached by a gunman a suspect who was driving a dark-colored vehicle. Noble apparently got out of his car and ran southbound when he was shot. Police also tell us that the gunman shot an innocent bystander as well.
The suspect, who was armed with a firearm, began firing several rounds at the victim, striking him. In doing so, the suspect also struck an innocent bystander who was sitting in his vehicle.
Well, Noble was taken to an area hospital where he was later pronounced dead, while the second victim's injuries are not life-threatening, we're told.
Man, whoever got the freeway blocked out need to get y'all together, dog. God. Nick ain't on the freeway. Man, y'all got the freeway blocked off all the way on Pope, dog. They got going.
Ooh.
That was a lot. That was a lot.
So, some history on this. Let me see. So, apparently, or I don't have any news articles, I'm going to say this, but word on the street is that Yellow had been shot by Mo 3 at some point in the history of all this, and that this was some sort of war. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna watch what I say on this because I'm cool on. I don't know nothing about nothing. I don't have a dog in nary fight. But what I will say is that it seems like it was a lot more going on between these two guys, these young men, along with Trap Boy Freddy and all that kind of stuff. So,
well, see, it really started over Roy Lee. The violence started with comedian Roy Lee, because Roy Lee was going at Yella Beezy about him not being from Oak Cliff, and he was saying that in his music that he was from Oak Cliff. And Roy Lee was stunting on him on the stage a lot of times on these comedic platforms and saying that he wasn't from Oak Cliff. So one day they was in a spot together. I want to say it was a club, and supposedly he was talking down on Yella Beezy not being from Oak Cliff, and Yella Beezy and him, they got into an altercation. And later on it led to a shooting, and Roy Lee got shot. And in result of him getting shot, he didn't die initially. He eventually died from a blood clot later on. So Mo 3 gets into the mix with the violence, and that's when it's when it took off from there.
Okay. Okay, and I had to pull up a news story to kind of get that background because I didn't know that piece of it. Okay, so dang man,
but these boys was killing each other. It was
that's
a
what
lot
I'm
of
saying. It's a
yeah,
lot
going
of
back and forth.
what's the word? No accountability.
Right.
Let's say it that way. No accountability happening here.
It was a lot of back and forth. And then they was getting it, and that's what I don't understand about this music scene. I know you feel me, old soul, about this.
Mm-hmm.
When they're getting into music and they talk about what they did to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So they antagonize each other and they keep inflaming what's already inflamed. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually, somebody died.
And then all of the people that love them, both sides, they hear this stuff and think this is supposed to be normal.
Right.
It's so weird.
And rainwater is being investigated as well. I'm not sure what is that? Who is that? What Egypt is giving us notes in the chat, and I don't know what that's regarding. Should I say that out loud? Is that a segue?
I'm gonna step on here real quick. Rainwater was and when Mo3 first got killed, he was being investigated as well because they were saying that he knew the whereabouts of Mo3. He was with another side piece. Let's go there. He was with a side piece when he got murdered. And they say Rainwater had some connections with that, with Roy Lee, with Mo3, and with Beezy. I don't know how Yo Gotti is tied into this because it just recently popped out that Yo Gotti is tied into this some kind of way. This is ridiculous. And what I want the men to touch on, especially Prime, and I know this is in the midst, but I want them to touch on how bad this makes us look in the music industry when we can't control our tempers, and we take it to social media. This is the prime example of us living out our life. Mo3, I love Mo3 music, but he told you what he was supposed to do, and he did it. And Yella Beezy came back and did the same thing. So I want Oso and Prime to touch on like how we need to watch what we do when we're doing music or any type of entertainment, from movies on down. It needs to be touched.
I can speak only for myself on this one. Me as an artist, I'm only going to talk about the things that I've dealt with in life, right? Because the listener is going to want to hear what you have to say from your own point of view. You know, if you're going and you're glorifying a life that you know you didn't live, the listener's going to know that that's not the real you. You know, and you're making, like I said, you're going to make the listener have to choose a side. And it's supposed to be more about being entertained. And if you're going to entertain, if you're going to give a portion of yourself, like for me, if I'm saying, hey, I grew up in a house where, there was no mother, there was no father, but I was always being taken care of, I need to give that to my audience. If I'm telling folks, hey, I need to build equity for myself for the next generation, I need to try to figure out how to make that relatable to the audience that I'm trying to relate it to. So a lot of the stuff that we're putting in our music, we need to think more about how the listener is going to perceive it. If they're hearing stuff constantly saying something about, oh, I'm gonna put a hit out on this person because they did me wrong. Well, how do you think the listener feels about this? And now they're going and they're listening to it and they're like, they're on 10 just like you're on 10. Who wants to always be on 10?
Can feed it.
Yeah.
I do think music can feed an energy that already exists. I don't necessarily think that it can make me do something that I didn't already think to do or want to do.
So let me. I feel you, Ja, but coming from the hood, yeah.
Speak on it.
I said, little young listeners, and they going through some things at home that they might not even understand. So they got misplaced feelings, and then you listening to this music that's telling you to, or say like We seen it when I was coming up. You know, cats didn't have the money to go get the Jordans. They had the money to go do that. But your music is saying, well, hey man, you need to step out the porch. You need to go do this. You need to think like this. Gangster music fuse. And I agree with you on some point. Yeah, it's not supposed to make you, but when you a young, unguided spirit, it can foster a spirit in you that will make you do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so
yeah,
music
what
is
you entertain. Yes,
music is
and
energy.
what you
Music,
entertain is what you emulate.
Yeah. So in
Or
your
what you
environment,
can emulate.
and then if your environment said too, in conjunction with a bad household, in conjunction with your environment, and then you add the music to it, man, you got a Molotov cocktail, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, and that's what and that's what I want to say. I wanted to kind of clean up or clear up a little bit of what I meant. Meaning, like, if I'm not already thinking about or in that mindset of somebody's pissed me off, I'm ticked off or whatever, and I go listen to a highly, toxic, something about, some rap music about somebody going off somebody and all this other kind of stuff, then I'm feeding that emotion. But what I'm saying is, in an environment, like you said, these young men and women that are teenagers hearing this music, constantly entertaining these thoughts, now they're starting to form their life around this music and their ideologies around this music, but they're already in these environments where it's conducive to it. Like you said, it's a cocktail. It's a volatile cocktail. That tongue twister. But anyway, and it causes them to feed that negative energy as opposed to manufacturing it. And that's why I was saying, like, I'm not going to go run somebody off the highway and gun them down, for instance. If I'm listening to a song and I hear that, that's not my MO. So I'm not going to be like, oh, this is going to make me do it. But if I'm hot and I'm in my car and somebody just ran into me, ironically, and if I'm listening to that music, I might be triggered. Like in that moment, now it done triggered me.
See, what we looking at it like from an adult standpoint. But
I know.
But when you a kid and you immersed in that type of a mud in your community, like right now, that's the reason why it's so much killing. I'm gonna tell you why, because the music say to the young kids that's getting guns at 15, 14, 16, it said, if you ain't got no bodies, then you ain't nobody.
Ooh,
that's what the music said. If you ain't got no bodies, then you ain't nobody. If you ain't out here going to take something, then you ain't nobody. That's what the music said.
Yeah,
I used to hear that. I used to hear that.
Damn,
I used to hear that a lot of times.
And especially now today, in the drill music, see, this is what we got to understand. The drill music is a whole nother side of rap. Drill music is telling these youngsters to go get your guns, get out here and be a soldier, go take what's yours, and go take somebody's life. And I'm gonna tell you something like this, real talk. I got a customer, and he told me 6 years ago. He said, I asked him, I said, man, why y'all out here killing each other so much, man? You youngsters. He said, man, a lot of times these boys just want to know what it feels like to take a body, to take somebody.
Wow.
So that's what we're dealing with now. You know what I'm saying? So when your Mo3 was doing what he's doing, and these boys, it's a thrill now. It's a thrill to do it now.
I used to hear that a lot of times in the call center. I had folks that would tell me, man, the only way you're gonna make it big, man, you know what you need to do? A guy told me this. He was like, in order for you to make it big, you gotta either get shot or go to jail. And I'm like, I don't want to go to jail. I just want to be entertained.
Get shot.
I like living, and because my folks always told me, if you go to jail, we ain't getting you out. Yeah. So why would I want to be there? Why would I want to express that to my people? See,
the younger generation does not think. Well, okay, let me not make a generalization, because I have younger generation kids and I teach them to think differently. But I'll say a majority of the younger generation is not thinking cause and effect. They're thinking YOLO. You only live one life?
You just said something, John. You said something a few minutes ago. accountability. Accountability is at a all-time low. So when and I see the Yella Beezy situation, but when you all-time low, mama is listening to this music with these kids, man. Mama listening to this music too. But yeah, Yella Beezy, $2 million bond. $2 million bond. This is where it's gonna lead you to. That's where it's gonna lead you.
And this boy looked like a kid himself. This is where I'm not gonna get on the soapbox because this had me real world pissed off. And I'm trying to move along with everything. But as a parent, it is a thing. It's a balance of, it as an adult, this is entertainment. If I'm listening to too much of this kind of music, I'm going to feel this kind of way. And I don't want to feel this kind of way. I don't need to listen to this kind of music. We use music to set a tone. So if we're being honest, it does set a tone, but the kids.
I have a song right now where it says, I don't want to be famous if it means I can't be myself.
Yeah. But being yourself doesn't sell a lot of times in terms of what these young kids think, because being yourself means I am not like us. They're not like us. It's they not like us types. And there's not a lot of Kendrick Lamar types around here that's willing to put themselves in such a predicament to stand out and stand on what their belief system is versus going with the crowd.
But even with them though, they beefing.
Yeah,
they was beefing. He used the beef to catapult him into another place as well. So we got to understand, like also doing conscious music. I like conscious music, but like that is not what they're promoting to the kids, which is the ones who's streaming this music.
Yes,
it's not us older folks. We pretty much gonna jam what we grew up on. We gonna jam, saying certain music. The kids is the ones that they promoting this stuff too. So they actually are the one that set the trend. We not setting trends no more. So
wait a minute though.
We not setting no trends like
we setting trends.
Well, in the mix we is. In the
mix we is too. We are too. Excuse me. Let me get my language together. But Tyler Perry and Monique are setting some trends now. Now we got to talk about this one because Angie Stone's funeral. Rest in peace to the late great Angie Stone. This is one of my favorite R&B neo soul women. Man, beautiful soul, beautiful voice.
Yeah, beautiful.
Now we talked about beef. Now beef in the rap game. Now we got beef in TV and film, beef in music again. But so Tyler Perry spoke at Angie Stone's funeral. It was beautiful for a lot of people's opinions, but some people didn't have that opinion. But I do want to go into, we want to load up is it the speech at the funeral that he does? Do we have that loaded up?
Y'all got to forgive me because I'm angry at the way she was treated. I did not know all the things that she was going through. Recently, I found out because I'm not on Instagram. I'm not being hooked and manipulated by an algorithm telling me what to think and how to feel. So I don't see everything. But to think that this woman was in the business for all of these years, and there's a difference between performing because you want to and performing because you have to. All of those years, all of those songs, all of that money that was owed to her, where is it? It's wrong. It is wrong. And I'm tired of seeing us struggle and go through things and work hard and not reap the benefits of what we were supposed to reap. But you got to be careful when you start mistreating people, especially children of God, because the Bible says, touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm.
Well, ain't that the pot calling the kettle black? Or is it the just irony? There's a lot with that. First of all, him speaking, if we isolate that by itself, that was a beautiful speech. Very, very well said, very well spoken.
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't that sound like someone similar in another situation that was treated unfairly, unjustly, not paid properly, not given her just due? And Monique had a nice, long, lengthy letter to discuss her feelings about this man's video or this man's speech.
The community is involved and they want to see how it's going to play out, because the community is saying, wait a minute, hold up, we don't know this sister to be no bullshit. We know she a loudmouth, we know she'll say some shit off the wall, but what we know about it is she true to her word.
And all I would ask you is two questions. The first question is, did you not just say it was wrong? Did you not just say it was wrong, Tyler? To say she was difficult for not doing something that she was not contractually obligated to do? Did you not say that you would feel that that was wrong? Or am I missing something? I absolutely. Yeah. So I'm not saying it now. I will let all of this cool off when I get back out on the press tour to promote my next thing. I know it's going to come up. That is when I will talk about it. But no, not it's too hot.
Ooh. So he was apologizing about it. He said, no, baby. After my tour, I'll talk about it. I'll apologize to you. So let's give a little bit of historical reference. So Hollywood blackballed Monique at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Perry, Oprah, and Lee Daniels what's the word? Supposedly, or whatever we want to say, had been involved in the wrongdoings to Monique. Netflix was canceled or something because of that, or she lost out on a deal because of that. She lost out on performances and shows and things like that because of that. She got into it with D.L. Hughley. She's been spazzing. We'll use the young kids' term, crashing out a lot. We see, but is this just? Did she call him out on his shit? What y'all think?
So get it. So let me hear you, man.
Oh man, it's so much to unpack. It's like, okay, we get it. We know that you're trying to stand up for making sure that people are, well, particularly women of color, are fairly compensated in the entertainment industry. We get it.
Is he?
Well, this is I'm saying this about Monique.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I'm saying this about Monique. Where I get where it gets kind of jaded for me is, was this the right time to even bring it up? Because people are still hurting over the loss of Angie Stone. And so I feel like now you're bringing this in on this platform right now, when I know that there's never a really good, like she said, there's never a good time to talk about something like this. But now you want to do this now? I'm like, no, why are we talking about this now? He spoke with the family there at the funeral to talk about her not getting what she's been owed, the record company's not giving her what she's been owed, and here comes Monique to bring up the same spiel that she had last year and the year before that, and the year before that. We've been talking about this since, let me see, you know what? If I think about it, right?
10 years?
It's something like that, right? And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, you did this role in Precious, right? Gabourey Sidibe hasn't said anything else about Precious. She went on to do other bigger things, right? So here's Monique. Yeah, you had this role in this movie, and you're still talking about what you didn't get. You're supposed to be working on getting what's owed to you. You know,
I don't know, because see, he also paid for Angie Stone's funeral,
and he paid for the funeral. So yeah, he can
also
say what he wants to. You got the family there. You know, you're supposed to be saying
Can he say what he wants to say?
Yeah.
No. I think now you get to say it. You get to say how you feel to a certain degree, because like you just said, also we had a funeral. We're supposed to be talking about this woman's life and her legacy and things like that, not airing out business right now.
And that's where he messed up. He started
he
talking
messed
about
up right
business.
there. I think that was supposed to be for after the funeral and with the family and you know, people
in private.
Right. It's not supposed to be at the funeral. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I didn't feel it though. I didn't feel you know, I appreciate I'm appreciative of him and what he did to pay for the funeral and he paid for the lawyers to go after her money and stuff like that. But
and he even said at the funeral he doesn't really know her like that.
Okay, well, even more so to me, to the point of like, Jai, hey, you got all of these other people that was like, hey, they was treated unfairly by you and Lee Daniels, man. So you need to go back and clean up some of your stuff before you start airing it out like you this righteous guy with certain things, man. It's time for you to air it out the right way. So, but of course, Monique is gonna come and she's gonna come the way she come, and I just think it's a lot of distasteful stuff going on right now. It's a whole lot of
I agree.
know, yeah. It's beef.
Angie is probably Angie is probably like, now I know damn well nobody told y'all to take my funeral and turn this into a publicity stunt. You know, thank you, Tyler, but you don't know my ass, and for you to do this, you know, I appreciate it, and so on and so forth. But do you think that she's just, well, I can't really say what she's okay with or what she's not okay with. She's not here, God rest her soul. But it's the idea that you took that opportunity to make a publicity conversation at a funeral. I think it should have been, I didn't know Angie Stone that well. I wish I would have had an opportunity to have worked with her, things like that.
And he said that at the beginning. Then he
But
went into this
and that's
whole
all
thing.
it should have. Yeah, that's all it should have went to, though, because then you go and say stuff like if I'm actively I don't know, if I'm actively stealing from a bank and I'm over here teaching people like, y'all don't want to be, you know, stealing from banks, and it's wrong to be stealing from banks and this and that, but I got a whole money laundering scheme going on. You know, it's not the right scenario for me to be trying to say, don't you know, I'm gonna go after everybody that's stealing from banks if I myself am stealing from banks.
But
you
this
know,
is
off in the cut.
But this is a grand situation I'm glad it's kind of blowing up, because now with him saying that, now he has to put in some action. Now you done said some stuff. Now you got to put in some action, and now you need to be charging up those other people that can put in some action to set the record straight with these artists, with saying, hey, we got to do better with ourselves by taking care of our people. You know what I'm saying? That's got to be the next conversation. If you tired of them doing your people a certain kind of way, then now you got the power now. Now you got to do something about it.
But he has not to take anything away from Angie Stone whatsoever, but it's like you're using this as an opportunity to show us I champion Black women. I go to support Black women in the industry, as opposed to him saying, you know what, if he would have taken that opportunity right there where he was talking about Angie Stone, and he said, and my sister Monique, I got you. I'm going to straighten out things too. Like, if you gonna do that, you might as well say they recording you.
That's what I think he was trying to do. In my opinion, he was trying to switch the narrative.
He gonna correct it.
Well, yeah, switch the narrative that's been put out about him. I think he was trying to use the platform to do that. So you know, but I don't like the way he did it. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't like the way he did it, and to me, it's not sincere.
But
it's
you
not
know
sincere.
what? But you know what? This is the reason why they tell folks, please limit your remarks to 2 minutes. That is the reason why they do it.
So, is there? Well, okay. We know there's a double standard. We know there's literally, you know, we'll move past that. We do want to give time to one of another falling Dallas rappers, and GS Little Ronnie, or G Money Little Ronnie. And I apologize if I'm not pronouncing his stage name correctly, but this is Ronnie Sibley and his 5-year-old daughter Armani Sibley, and they were gunned down at a gas station. And this was while he was coming back into town. I don't even know if it was tied. We don't know what the certain scenario is, whether it was tied to some sort of beef, you know, kind of like the Mo3 situation. Was it tied to some sort of rat beef or some sort of violence in that way? Or was he a true innocent bystander? We don't know. It's very, very unfortunate, but it speaks to the gun violence pandemic or epidemic, whatever you want to call it, issue that we're having in our Black communities, and it speaks to also the music industry and whether or not, you know, we're handling our emotions accordingly, and we're doing what we need to do as musicians, as artists, and all that kind of thing. And Egypt is saying he won 40K, and the people were mad and got him. I'm not sure what 40K was tied to entirely, but does anybody have the understanding of the story? Okay, so this was related to a dice game he won money from, and they were going after him for that.
That's what I heard.
Well, they say also it was he did something. It was like he tricked him out to 40K too. So it was like it was like something like that too. But not just that. Lil Ronnie had already had run-ins with these people. They told him not to come to that side of the town and not to come to that car wash. And listening to his music. I just got up on his music maybe a few weeks ago when he died, and he was talking gangster stuff. He was doing the same, you know. So
we just got through talking about that same thing with Mo3. We just got through saying that.
It's basically the same stuff. It's basically the same stuff. It's rampant throughout the Black community right now in the music, and we got to get control of the narrative. That's what it is. We got to get control of the narrative and say, hey, we can't put this kind of stuff out no more, man. We got to challenge our radio stations to stop airing that stuff, because
we got to have more. We got to have more artists willing to speak on things culturally, but to advance us in our music, and advance us in our understanding of things. Advances in and a great point, we want to highlight one of our own, Original Soul with M4G Entertainment. He's doing something that is pushing, Original Soul specifically is pushing conscious music. But we've got to get more and more artists doing this, because just like how you can saturate the market with negative violence and sexually explicit, overly, just all these different negative connotations of our community, we can do the same and flip it to talk about the positives and start pushing things like Black wealth, Black ownership, different things that have to do with community building in a creative way. We're all creatives in terms of the artists. You're creative. So find a creative way to push that shit. Like, that's just point blank, period. We have to find a way to make that be popular.
And we can,
in my opinion.
And we can use these platforms like this to push music like Old Soul's music. And we got to start doing stuff to, because the mainstream radio, Clear Channel and stuff, like, they're going to play what's popping.
Popular.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then to me, in my opinion, we talk about boycotting and all that type of stuff, but that's the kind of stuff we got to start boycotting is the thug mentality. We got to start boycotting that, man. We got to stop. We got to start telling the radio stations we don't want to hear that.
But making it popular to be educated, making it popular to show your intelligence and things like that, because that's one of the things that I noticed coming up is it became unpopular at some point to say that you were smart, to say that you were a nerd, to say, and nerd became a cuss word. And I'm a major nerd, and I teach my children that's dope. That's fly to be a nerd. It's fly to be educated. It's fly to be intelligent. It's not fly to be ignorant of your surroundings and your, history and all kind of different things. So
I'm finna blow your mind. John, real quick. My son's 16 years old, and he told me maybe a few years ago, he was like, they got this term called you try hard. So like if we playing a video game, and I keep beating you all the time, then you'll turn around and call me a try hard, and now I look bad.
What?
Yeah.
I've heard something about that. So a try hard is
you doing
too much.
Yeah, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. You ain't letting me win.
How's that a try hard if I'm doing it naturally? You need to try harder. Yeah. But okay, that was
good. Again, we go back to that
accountability
word. That unaccountability word. That's where it come at, man. All included. Everybody gets a ribbon. Everybody gets a trophy. Like, man, that's not good.
Participation. Yeah,
that's not good. But that's another subject.
Well, yeah, it is. Man. I'm trying to keep our time. I know we got other stuff to do. So we definitely want to just remind everybody to like, follow, and subscribe at QOC Network. On all platforms. We're trying to get our numbers up. We're growing in our subscribers on the QOC Network side. So we appreciate that. And definitely be sure to follow our shows and tell us which ones you like and comment and all that good stuff. So
yeah.
This is the memorial dedicated to the victims. It even has markers for people to write condolences. 5-year-old Armani and her father, 36-year-old Fort Worth rapper Ronnie Sibley, known as G Money Little Ronnie, died in the shooting. Detectives used this security video to identify the shooting suspects, 21-year-old Jacoby Russell and 24-year-old Adonis Robinson. You can see the father trying to get away from his attackers during the gunfire that killed his daughter, who was in the front seat of his car. In court documents obtained by WFAA, detectives also identified a white Kia used as the getaway car. That car belonged to the girlfriend of one of the suspects, who says he asked to borrow the car, which was later also caught on camera at a nearby apartment complex. The girlfriend told detectives her boyfriend said he left it there because something bad had happened, according to court documents. People are still bringing well wishes to the memorial, like Victoria Camacho, who has young siblings.
I mean, it's sad to see a 5-year-old and her dad pass away in our community. So seeing that my sister's 4 years old and that they were really close at age, I just wanted to bring something for memory for her.
Both suspects face capital murder charges for what happened here at the car wash. We are still waiting to learn from police a motive in the shootings. In Forest Hill, I'm Scoop Jefferson.
We just playing with them on this one, yeah.
First off, free my nigga, yeah, yes. Ay, soda so dark, got it looking like the window on the rappers start to flop, we ain't tripping, we got pots and a lot of blenders. Count a lot of skrilla till my fingers looking like they got splinters. Fuck a bank account, I'm stuffing racks in these got packs in the D.
Man, God rest their souls for this tragic loss of G Money, Little Ronnie, and Armani, the baby girl. Man, his daughter. Just
over and over.
We don't mean to leave it out on a heavy note, but Yeah, kids getting shot is not nothing I ever want to report on or talk about. But man,
rest in peace to Lil Ronnie. But I'm like I told my kids and everybody that come to my shop, I'm more about the child because Lil Ronnie was into a certain type of a lifestyle and he knew that. And to me, in my opinion, like I said, you don't bring your kids around when you moving when you moving in them streets like that. You can't be riding with your kids like that, man. That's unfortunate that she got caught up.
Crazy.
She got caught up in her dad's street beefs and stuff like that, man. And that's terrible.
Ugh. Okay.
I want to say to all of the young artists that may be listening to this stuff, right? Y'all got to put some different stuff in your music because there are too many young folks that are listening to you that look up to you. And when they look up to you, they want something that they can build from. They're not going to build from stuff that you're hearing in this music now. There's no substance. There's nothing that's going to help you grow. You need something that if you're going to entertain, but also have something that's going to help you grow and evolve as not only a person, but as a better artist. You also need to start trying to learn the history of what it is that the how can I say it, the first generation of hip hop MCs go get some of that history and find out how they did things and why they did things the way they did. Because if we keep going down this path, we're going to keep having shows like this. And I don't like having shows like this where we're saying rest in peace to this person, rest in peace to that person. We're saying that a lot. And we said it a lot last year. And here we are, it's almost April. And it's like we're already ready for 2026.
I'm gonna say to back up also with the music, these kids are it seems to be like they're soulless right now because it is popular to go to jail. It is popular to die. It is popular to get killed. So the dynamic of that is what has to change. That will eventually change the music, but right now it's popular to be a horrible person. Like we say, the kids are calling themselves savages. When we was coming up, we would never have called ourselves savages.
Yeah, because we didn't act in that manner. We didn't act in that manner. There was structure somewhere.
You would have got checked too.
Either from
everybody
parents,
in your family.
Either from parents or from your neighbors. I had neighbors that if you didn't speak to them, those neighbors were going to go back to your parents and say, you know what, such and such didn't speak to me. Okay, I'll take care of it, and I got handled for that.
You know what I see though? I see mama riding in the car listening to the same music.
Same stuff.
Yeah. My mom didn't listen to the same music I listened to. None of my partners, but I see mama and daddy listening to the same music. Mama and
it's
daddy.
The little kids. It's the little kids, and I really like when my kids got to be teenagers and stuff like that. I listened to music that came on the radio. So yeah, you can say what you want to say about the radio. It is what it is.
That's another story.
There was, and that's popular, and that's a whole nother thing too. And then just to think about when they were younger and impressionable, and would hear all that, I was playing Kids Bop. I was trying to play stuff that was, safe. Because I don't want to put those thoughts and all that kind of stuff in their head. And even the Al Green and Isley Brothers, no, you can't listen to that in the car. It's going to give the wrong kind of, but the adults that we are, some of us adults, my age range and my peers, they're not thinking with that mindset of, I don't want to raise my children strict. They're looking at that like that's strict. And I was raised and I couldn't listen to this and that and da 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 da. But we don't know the balance. It's either you want to be your kid's best friend or you want to be their moral enemy. And we got to figure out how to have a balance with accountability as parents, as well as giving some leeway to let them grow and let them learn and make their mistakes, but still have that middle ground with them. And I think that's where a lot of the kids are being lost because the parents don't have middle ground and understanding of stuff.
I'm a father like this. I'm old school, and I'm not going to stop being old school because I know that old school rearing did something good for me. So my kids, if you in my car, I control my radio. That's my radio.
You got the aux cord.
so just to make a long story short, my kids listen to a lot of the stuff that I listen to, and it shocked me. One time my son got in the car and he was like, "Dad, can I get the aux this time?" I was like, say man, don't let everybody touch my car.
It's advanced, right?
He got my aux cord and he put it on, and he turned on some Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I was like, bro. But it was a proud moment because I knew that was a religion that came through me to him. Came from my mom, my uncles, to me, to him. And so like I said before, when mama is primarily 80% the household today. Yeah. She's rearing what we're seeing and what we keep saying rest in peace to. And she don't understand it. And dad, by him not being there, and then maybe some of these dads might be in these kids' life, but they still trying to live the street life. You know what I'm saying? Like these 40s, these cats in these 40s, some of them in their 50s, they still trying to live their street life. And these kids are impressionable and they looking at this stuff. Yeah. So we got a cultural correction that we got to deal with.
Absolutely. Well, okay. This was a heavy show. Yeah, it's a little overwhelming. It's a little heavy, but we wanted to talk about what is trending in our culture and what is trending in music. And unfortunately, it is death. It is a lot of senseless violence right now. But we wanted to talk about it in a helpful way, hopefully a helpful way, and not just glorifying anything, because that's not what we're here for. Right. But on behalf of everybody here at QOC, I'm Jay Marie.
And I'm Prime.
And I am Old Soul.
And we are in the mix.
Peace.
Mix in the mix. Let me tell you how it's going down.